Good afternoon, everyone. How are you today? First of all, I'd like to thanks for the chance given to me. My name is Vira Jannaty and I am biology student who will be a presenter on this topic. In this opportunity, I'd like to talk about flowers. The purpose of my presentation is to clearly tell about flowers in plants so that can make you understand more about flowers. My presentation will take about 5 to 10 minutes and I have divided my talk into several points. First, I like to talk about introduction and parts of flowers. Second is about reproduction of flowers and example of flowers. Third, about use and facts about flowers. And finally is conclusion about flowers. If you have any questions, I will be glad if you address them at the end of my presentation, or please do interrupt me while I'm talking. So let me start with the introduction about flowers. Flowers is most colorful and beautiful of a plant. That's beautiful part of a plant. Flowers make fruit and most fruits bear seeds. Most flowers have attractive colors. A flower, sometimes known as a bloom or blossom, is the reproductive structure found in flowering plants. Now we've seen the part of flowers. The part of flowers, there is a petal, anther, stamen, lamen, stigma, ovary, ovule, nectary, and sepal. The table describes the main parts of flowers and their function. Sepals has a function to protect the unopened flowers. Petals may be brightly colored to attract insects. Stamens, the male parts of the flowers, each consist of an anther held up on a filament. Anthers produce male sex cells, pollen grains. And stigma, the top of the female parts of the flowers which collects pollen grains. Ovary, to produce the female sex cells contained in the ovules. Nectary, produce a surgery solutions called nectar, which attracts insects. This is the reproduction of flowers. Reproduction of flowers. Pollination process. The process of sexual reproduction in plants begins with pollination. Pollination is the transfer of pollen from the anthers to the stigma. The transfer of the powder can be carried out by various agents such as air, water, and animals. There are two types of pollination, namely self-pollination and cross-pollination. Self-pollination is a type of pollination. When pollen is transferred from the anthers to the stigma of the same flowers, this type of pollination can only occur in bisexual flowers. Meanwhile, cross-pollination occurs when pollen is transferred from the anthers of a flower to the stigma of another flower of the same species. Conceptions. In angiosperms, fertilization is the union of male and female gametes that work to produce a fertilized zygote or egg. This is an example of flowers. Seasonal flowers. Spring flowers, the flowers of spring season are apple blossom, tulip, orchid, and etc. Summer flowers. Flowers blooming in summers are chemely, China rose, lily, and sadabahan. Winter flowers. Flowers of winter season are rose, dahlia, chrysanthemum, and etc. This is uses of flowers. Flowers are beautiful, flowers smell divine, there are edible flowers, flowers for cooking, and even flowers that make you feel relaxed and calm. Roses are edible. Rose water is used as medicine and used for adding flavor to drinks and sweets. Sunflower seeds are nutritious. Lavender is nature relaxation tools. Uses of flowers. Flowers like marigold, zinnia, and etc. are used for making colors. These are used to dye clothes. Some flowers are used for decorations purposes. Arnica flowers is used in making lotions. The vanilla bean comes from an orchid. Kahnar, banana, and sajan are eaten as vegetables. Fact about flowers. The largest flowers in the world is the Arums, which produce flowers 10 feet high and 3 feet wide. The flower smells of decaying flesh and are also known as corpse flowers. The flowers fruits of the marsh marigold are pickled as a substitute for capers. Sunflowers move throughout the days in response to the movement of the sun from east to west. Tulips bulbs can be substituted for onions in a recipe. Lotus is the national flowers of India. Above all, you need to know the conclusion about this presentation is the flower is the reproductive organ of the plant. Without the flowers, the plant will not be able to reproduce. Pollination is the transfer of pollen by pollinators such as insects, wind, or other means. I have already finished my presentation, and if you have any questions, I will be glad to answer them. This is the end of my presentation. Thank you very much for your attention.